Hello, hello, hello. My name is Louis Lee from All Ends Media, and I'd like to welcome everybody here to Playing in Traffic, which we do this every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We try not to miss a night except for Christmas and sometimes New Year's. We got a special guest, Frank Leutz. Leutz.
Frank.
Leutz. We got my man Ray from Motormouth Radio, the world famous Motormouth Radio. So what's up, Frank?
What is happening, people? Man, what a day out here in the desert.
Yeah. How's the weather out there?
Well, dude, we can't complain. I feel guilty. I see you guys in the snow and such. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Man, we got rid of the snow, but the temperature dropped on us, man. It's 24 degrees right now.
Oh gosh. Yeah. No. I'll tell you what we did have, because I had my sunroof open and we had this crazy like mini haboob. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those haboobs.
The hell's that?
It's not our haboobs, but I'm over here with the sunroof open. I was headed to the station, and all of a sudden, I had no clue. I was working at home. We didn't watch any weather reports, and here comes this big old cloud of madness, and stuff just starts coming in my little vehicle. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and we'll pay for it here in a few months. It'll get triple digits.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff was coming in? I still don't understand what you experienced out there, Frank.
I'm telling you, every piece of debris from the flora and the fauna on the side of every situation was coming in my ride.
Wow. All right.
Big dust bunnies, huh?
Man.
Yeah,
So Frank, tell us.
But things are good.
Good. So listen, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So if you could tell everybody where you're from, what you do, and maybe give them your information on your website, which I'll share with everybody in a little bit. So just give us a little background about yourself.
Right on. So I started in the automotive industry in 1990. I worked for a dealership. Wrenching as an automotive technician back in 1990. And one of the big players in town bought the dealer, not mentioning names, and they had transferred me and my toolbox up to another dealer, a brand new dealer. So I got to that dealer, and that dealer was like, "Who are you?" So essentially, they fired me in the worst way. And so prior to getting in the industry, I had played a lot of music in New York as a jazz trombonist, and was honored to play with a bunch of people. And I was ready to say, you know what? After 5 or 6 years already wrenching, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this is a sign. My wife, who's Lebanese, those Lebanese are peddlers. They love to sell stuff. She said, no, honey, let's open our own place. And I started my first garage in 1995. And, a little two-bay shop. I mean, I had, just meager beginnings, and, grew it from there, sold that in 2003, and then opened up Desert Car Care of Chandler. We're nationally ranked, award-winning, and really embedded ourselves in the community and learned a lot along the way, actually expanded to 3 locations. And our garage is really, we don't do a lot of performance. I mean, I've got a 56 T-Bird in here. We'll do what we do, but really it's the retail side of things. And over the years, I've become a lot more active and involved in the industry, eventually as the ASA chapter president here in Phoenix. That's the Automotive Service Association. Then went up national towards the Mechanic Ops Committee. So the whole idea was that, as the years went on in business, with 3 locations at one point, I wanted to give back, and I wanted us to sort of take care of the future. A lot of us in this industry right now, we're running and gunning. We have to deal with everything that comes our way in a daily sense of dealing with the consumer, and then dealing with the challenges of fixing these cars in the service bay. I mean, the F-150 has got 100 million lines of pull your hair code, right? So as I progressed, I felt a need to pay it forward, and did a lot of work in the industry, eventually landing over at the Mechanic Ops Committee for ASA. And with that said, started to get into some legislation, and we're going to talk about that. But that legislation has to do with the privacy and the data that's, we're able to have, whether you have a performance aftermarket shop or a retail garage. And within that, about 4 years ago, I created a whole brand called Wrench Nation, and it was more of an automotive lifestyle show. I got tired of hearing the shortage of technicians, the shortage of mechanics, and I felt like, if we can parlay and tell the stories of the industry, it's a platform. And of course, Louis, you've been on the show. We've had Wayne Carini. We've had a ton of people celebrating over 200 shows. And so that is, in a nutshell, sort of where I'm at. And, post-COVID now, I'd like to say post-COVID, things will start picking up. And we do a lot of car shows. We'll be out in California this weekend. I do a lot of film works for a lot of our sponsors. And really just share the story, tell the story so we can invigorate and inspire these up-and-coming youth, and mainly these parents. Some of these parents are knuckleheads. They still think they're stuck in time, bunch of greaseballs fixing cars. It's a respectable industry. And so that's a lot of my plate today is really, pitching that forward to the next generation.
Right. So I was on your show. I was 194. I think I'm looking at it now. 194. Yeah. Great time, man. You and Sue took care of me. You treated me right. It was a good show.
We had a good time. I mean, we got a kick out of your repo days before you started hauling. That was some good stuff. But, it's things like that, Louis, that, each one of us, we have a story, and it don't matter where you're at in the industry. I mean, some are intimidated because I'm only been doing this a few years. What can I offer? And the fact is, this platform is really giving others an opportunity at whatever level. We do the show primarily from the East Valley Institute of Technology, so we can have the automotive instructors. Those instructors, they're boots on the ground, and they need help. So we tie the show in from one of the major national players for high school level technology trade schools, automotive welding, collision, you name it. And we're able to keep them on the map. And so, I get jazzed about it.
I'll tell you, the trade schools, man, we really need to get those back online. I went to trade school for art, and I tell you what, it made such a big difference in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just showed me a lot of things that high school just don't show you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me a good start on the road.
Yeah. Ray, I'm sure you've seen this. Scholastically speaking, it's been a terrible thing has taken place over the last easy 5 years, probably going back 10 years. You now have, I use Los Angeles as a case example. In the LA area back in the day, there were 20, 30, 40 trade schools at a high school level. Now there's maybe one or two, and I just saw, I forget the gentleman's name, on Facebook that posted up, individuals, not big corporations, individuals, average Joes and Jills that are out of their pocket trying to raise money for this tech school. And we need more than Mike Rowe on a national level, and that's up to us individually. And so these trade schools, especially in this economy, the demand is there. Not every kid's going to college.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was just had a conversation like that. We had a department meeting today and a personnel and budget meeting the other day that I was part of, and we were talking about stuff like this because I'm in an engineering department in a local college, and it's how to get kids in, how to get them out, how to get them trained, and they're talking about now more involvement. It's always been a thing about involvement with high schools, but I tell you, it's such an octopus of a problem. Because I have two kids that went through the school that I work at, and I met with the guidance counselors in their high schools. They went to the same high school. And you see how they advise kids, and they advise them for like top tier 4-year schools. It's like all this pie in the sky, big career stuff. And it was I didn't tell the guidance counselor what I did for a living, but I said, hey, what about a community college or 2-year college, or where a kid can get an education, get a leg up, and get some practical experience. and they just like wet blanketed that idea. And I just kept feeding them. I just kept feeding them questions. And my wife was grabbing my hand because she knew what I was doing. I was setting this woman up. I was setting her up for the kill. And I finally did. I just had to tell her, listen, you're not doing your kids a service. You're not doing your community a service. Because not every kid is made for the top tier colleges. A lot of them, we need tradespeople. We need kids who can do other things. And, you're setting them up for a fall. And we've seen our kids' friends go to these schools, and after a semester or two, they're out, they're back home, because they just couldn't cut it, either because of the pressures or because of the course load, the workload. So the schools have to get a little more realistic, and it all comes down to money. It's money from the state, and they're looking at attrition rates and this and that. There's so many things that filter into the formula that's wrong. I mean, it's actually it is right, but they use it in the wrong way. So yeah, we're talking about that in my school now about how to get more grassroots stuff and more trade. I don't know. It's a slippery slope. I don't know if it's always easy to cut and take stuff out. It's harder to go back the other way.
Yeah, people really down play the trades. Every trade that you think of, they make a lot of money, but you don't hear that on the media, and the counselors don't tell the kids that. Plumbers, think about it, $7,500 an hour before they leave the shop.
But the fault I have with that. I understand your statement, but I have to disagree, because any counselor and all these people who are advising, they've paid for plumbers, they've paid for electricians, and they'll be the first to bitch and gripe about how expensive it is. They know that. They don't want, and it's pressure from inside the schools too. They want to see that the kids went to name schools and got big educations and big degrees. And that's where the system has to change, because I'll tell you something. I was upstairs today in my house. I have an apartment up there, and I had to fix the toilet. And I was up there, and the guy who's living up there he's in the local electricians union in New York City. He's working on the new Penn Station. And he's a young guy. He's in his 20s. And there I am with my hands in the tank, and I asked him how his job was and all. And I said, this is another good job right here. I said, being a plumber. He's like, oh, hell yeah, that's great. I said, yeah, I know I didn't follow that as a profession. I said, maybe I should have. I don't know. I said, but, I know how to do it. And there's a guy that gets it. And a lot of people don't. And the parents don't want to see their kids, getting dirty or, being a plumber and dealing with dirty pipes and whatnot. And God, it
kind of frustrates you, don't it?
Yeah, a lot.
Prior to COVID, I've had Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, women's associations, different companies. We do a huge car clinic. I bring a food truck out. We blow up balloons. We try to make it celebratorious. I always have a master technician in house, so he can see. One of the things we did, Ray, and I think you'll agree, we really jacked up the last how many years, our respect as owners of businesses and management of these dealers and whatever, of the mechanic in the service bay ripping his tail to do a good day's job. Yeah. And so now we look at this and we say, we got this shortage. Well, guess what? We got to blame ourselves for what we set up in the past. We didn't pay guys enough money, or gals for that matter, I would say. So with these clinics, not only is it really the face value of teaching at the various levels, we'll speak to a specific audience. If you got Cub Scouts, there's only so much you can go there. But I make sure the parents are in house, and I always rotate my technicians, because I want them to never stop for 1 minute and never lose the fact that they can never stop identifying that they are value in the marketplace.
Right.
Everything we do, I've got billboards around our shop. I'm an aggressive marketer. I spend 8 to 10% of our budget in staying relevant. A lot of my business is repeat and referral, but I like to highlight my crew. I don't have some slick Photoshop of some Madison Avenue. Who's this guy? It's my dude's kids on there. If we're doing a road trip campaign, inspections, or it's my lead technician, literally meet Tom. And so maybe this industry of ours needs to really step it up and say, you know what? Okay, what are we going to blame the shortage on? But how about you run a tight ship and truly run a culture that appreciates every man and woman in that service bay?
Right.
Right. Glorified a little more. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, come to my mechanical surgical arena. I tell my doctor friends, come on, you see what we got.
You hit the nail on the head, Frank, because I know you just made me think back. You made me think back about 47, 48 years in my life when I was coming up. Yeah, well, I was working in shops, and actually back then I worked in a machine shop. It was the best job I ever had, and something I recommended anybody who's in any kind of automotive trade should have some kind of time in a machine shop, just for the rudimentary skills. But you'd work in a shop, and yeah, you'd make. I guess back then minimum wage was, what were we getting back then? Like $1.25 an hour. I don't know. It was. I remember like a dime raise was kind of good. Once I got a quarter, I felt like I became the vice president. But it was nothing to just quit that job and go somewhere else. You're working at deli the next week, and then you go. And I had a friend who did that. He'd get pissed off at the boss. Screw you, I'm out of here. He'd go work in a deli. He was a short order cook. Then he actually went and worked on slices and scales. He got a little bit, because he was technical. Then he'd go back to the gas station, and not till we got into our, I guess, 30s, then he finally opened up his own shop. And then he worked as an owner. But back then, yeah, we didn't make any kind of money. You made minimum wage, and it got you through the week, and that was about it. It wasn't something you wanted to say, hey, I want to do this for the rest of my life, unless you could aspire to be an owner. And when you're young, you're not even thinking that, really.
Well, right now I think there's a big gap that people are seeing. When you watch the TV shows, these guys are building $200,000 cars, and then you have the mechanic that you see down the street. So there's no in between. You know what I mean? People don't see the in between.
Yeah.
Although I got to give a big shout out. Listen, I respect television production, and quite frankly, I respect those that have hung in there working for a studio or a network. It's a lot of work, and often it can fracture a crew. That's a whole nother topic, and in some occasions fracture their business. There's plenty of stories out there. But I've got a lot of respect, and I would love to share out John Gardner. He's been on the show, and he's phenomenal. He runs one of the best. He tries to keep it entertaining. Everybody wants a little shtick here and there, but he has the best show on TV right now regarding automotive education. And the neat thing is, he's an instructor. He got Professor of the Year out of all professors in the state of Florida as an automotive instructor out of Chippewa College. And, I feel a duty to help promote and brand and get people to watch that show, because you're right. I can't identify, as a 17-year-old. Can I identify with, it's entertaining, but that's it. It's not anything more. Maybe I've been inspired. It's a 200K build, but the fact is we need more of that. The problem is, you guys know, it's all about selling the time, whether it's on radio or TV, and that's where the conundrum can be, and it's tough. I thought I read recently, guys, Welder Up, the show. I've not followed the show, but I just somehow, some way, I read that it really was difficult, and they're a bunch of talented welders, builders. They're amazing out of Vegas, and it literally, the Discovery Studio folks cracked these folks to put out a production, and it really stressed out the crew. There's so much TV sizzle, and we lose sight of that. And I'll have to agree with you, Lewis. It's are we getting the right information by way of how we're going to inspire the next generation? It's a tough call.
Right. I'm friends with Steve, and he's like the closest, I think, to the everyday guy. You know, you sit and talk to him. He's really down to earth, and I think I'm gonna have to hook you up with him. But I think he would be a good spokesperson for that situation. So, actually, he's doing classes right now of welding, where you can take classes online. But yeah, he's really you know, Welder Up is a good example.
Yeah.
You know, we had Dan Short from Phantom Works on the show last year.
Nice.
Right. I mean, we had him on a few times, but this was right after he did make the big public announcement that the show was going to cease production, and he put a big piece on his website and went into details about why. That's exactly what you spoke to, Frank. He said the pressures of the film shoot. He says, I got a lot of guys in my shop, and they're not all on camera, but all the radios have to be shut off when they're filming. So now the guys that aren't on camera that just want to do their job can't listen to their music. So they get ticked off. And, you know, he lost a lot of personnel. It was a big turnover.
Yeah.
And some guys didn't like being on camera. Other guys liked it too much. And, you know, you got to work through all that. So, yeah, I always say be careful what you ask for. You might just get it.
Right. I was talking to Dave Kingdig. We were at a show and we were eating lunch. And so I was asking him how he got started with the show and stuff. And he said that they were after him for 2 or 3 years before he decided to do the show. He said he had to do it on his terms. He says, my everyday life is building cars, not being on TV. And he said once they agreed to all the terms, then, you know, he actually runs the show. He tells them, here's your dates, here's when you come. And if you miss a shot, we're not going to take a motor back out for your shot.
Right.
Be there on time, get your shot, you know, and we'll do everything that way.
You know, that's where the genius of Mark Warman comes in from Graveyard Cars, because he just started his own production company and said, all right, guess who's got control now? Me. You know, and he controls everything. So it was probably a bigger outlay and certainly a much bigger time outlay. But at the end, having control, I think, is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things when we started, actually, I will say, and I'm humble about this, you know, running from the mid 90s is, let's face it, I mean, we're all hustling. We're entrepreneurs at the root of what we do. I don't care if you're working for someone as a mechanic, you have to continue education. You got to work your skill, all of that. But everything that I've ever done was always geared about, okay, what's this look like 2 years from now? What's it look like 5 years?
Yeah.
How are these relationships going to start to develop? So you almost want to reverse engineer where you're going to be. And having, you know, with Wrench Nation, when we started it, I knew, and we were approached by a multitude of, let's do this, let's do that, let's partner up, blah, blah, blah. And I always said, you know what? I'm not into that. I want slow and steady. And I truly want to focus on content and highlight people, man. I don't care about ratings or anything like that. I know that if we can just give a true blue experience and help, whether it's John D'Agostino or whether it's a Wayne Carini or Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver or Louis Lee or soon to be Ray on the show, I know that out of that, at the end of the day, for me to be gelled on it, if I can affect 4 or 5 youngsters or someone retraining in their life, they can hear somebody else's story. We just had Hot Rod. I'm sorry, guys, my brain is shut, but the Pinstriper, help me out. I should know. I saw the post. Hot Rod. Hot Rod. That cat has been everywhere. I mean, he owned a rockabilly club. He was a builder. He had his garage, and now for the last 20 years, he's a world-renowned master pinstriper. And you guys got to check out the show, but just his inspiration and the way he was flowing with folks, incredible, because everything is centered around what can I do to pay it forward? Because the way he put it is, I'm not dying with secrets. You know, I want to, so that was really cool. And I'm hopeful that, you know, all we can do, man, every day is just try to influence a few people. That's it. You know, what are we going to do? This life's too short. And I got a lot of admiration for the Ken Diggett's of the world that can say, you know what, I'm going to think about this and see how this affects not only my lifestyle, but man, I got to protect my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because once your show's over, you know, you're like into the win.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, can we address Slingshot mentioned you guys feel that doing a show on a platform like YouTube is better than TV because the control you have over the show. Lewis, you're on the internet. I'm doing some stuff.
Well,
Go ahead, you answer it, and then I'll answer.
well, my opinion is YouTube is a growing spot for young entrepreneurs. So, and you have control over everything. So yes, I like YouTube. I'm just now getting to the point where I'm starting to head towards YouTube strong. We've been doing this years, and I haven't really focused on YouTube, but in the next year is my strong focus. So yeah, I believe YouTube is a way to go for shops or anybody doing anything really.
You know, at the end of the day, what I would say to that, first off, control. Yeah, you have control, but there's the big D word, and it's the discipline. Sometimes when you're working with a studio, you know, I had PR. I had a publicist for 7 years. She kept me disciplined. And sometimes with a platform like YouTube, or let's say you're hanging on IGTV, whatever the case is, you really got to be disciplined. You got to have a content calendar. You got to understand the three-legged stool of marketing. Who's my audience? What's the medium? Does this particular audience hang on YouTube, or is this particular audience hang on IGTV, or what have you? And the most important thing when you talk about control, and I see this with a lot of brands, own what you do for real. Get it all back to the website. YouTube absolutely is a big gorilla in the room, but YouTube shouldn't be on the forefront of your brand as how you're going to broadcast to an audience. Your website should be, your email list. Emails are still a part of marketing. Some saying, well, emails are going away, blah, blah, blah. No, emails, if you look at the studies, people are still getting their newsletters. Mm-hmm. And from the brands, they feel that's a personal connection. So if you're on YouTube, sure, you'll have full control. But if you don't have the discipline and you're not saying, okay, where am I taking people off of YouTube? It should be your website. That's what you own.
Well, you know, I do some marketing for some people, and I always tell them that anything could happen to the social media companies. The guy that owns YouTube, he might get in a car accident and hate cars. So all the car shows could go away.
Yeah.
If he comes in the office with a stick up his butt, says, you know what? I don't want no more car shows on.
Yeah.
You're gone, just like that. So, like you said, build your website, have everything go back to the site, and you're pretty secure.
YouTube, you got to treat like a business. First off, it's all about the algos. And I'm not an authority on it, but trust me, I spent a lot of time market researching every piece of what's the outcome of whatever content that I've got out from the show. We do a lot of video. A lot of our sponsors want video. They love the 1 minute videos, so we do the video. YouTube is great, but if you don't understand that the business side, and you know, you look at some of these brands, you're like, holy cow, how did they get 1 million subs in 12 to 18 months? Now that's a rarity, but realistically, how did they get 10,000 subs within 90 days? They understand what's happening analytically. They also understand that they're doing a whole lot of work outside of YouTube, not only through social media, but, you know, working that content and such. So again, YouTube, all social media should be secondary. I mean, it's like building a car, man. Like, all right, great, I got all this horsepower, but what about the rear end? You can't do about that. So what comes first? And so always build out that brand so you understand, okay, where am I taking people at the end of the day? Sometimes as brands, you know, actually, I take it back. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, because sometimes we get into these brands, we're like, oh, I thought I liked that, but I didn't, and you lose it. But at the heart of who you are, you're always etching out something you're going to try. You never quit, and you try again. You have to ask yourself, what am I converting for here? Where am I taking people? And the more important thing with YouTube, look, let's face it, in this day and age, you need the sustenance of business by way of bringing in some dollars to help you sustain your platform. I've seen more brands lose it, and we're all passionate. That's a given, man. We want to help people. But if you don't treat it like a business and say from the get-go, that's where that big D, that discipline, and build out a business plan for a YouTube channel and the website, it goes away. It goes away. I read a statistic. YouTube, it's something like 10% of the YouTubers out there have like 10,000 subs, you know, and a lot of it's because they come and go. They come and go. You know.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. Let me see. We got any other questions? Let's see. Okay, well, no more questions. I don't see anything that we can hit them on. But hey, in between, everybody on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe so we can get this out to more people and have more wonderful guests like Frank here on. So let's jump to the next subject, the politics of automotive repair.
Oh boy.
Frank, tell us about it.
Well, first things first, you know, what you may miss and what you don't see on TV is the fact that these are some sophisticated rolling works of technology. You know, on the show, we talk about rolling works of art and style, but to make these modern day vehicles run, you know, you're talking, as I said earlier, on an F-150, it's 100 million lines of code. So we gone from mechanic to auto technician, which I see coming down the pipeline. Ray, network engineers. I mean, we are communicating with modules and networks. And so with that said, legislatively right now, there's a dirty war going on. And that's the OEs not allowing the aftermarket. And again, I don't care what size shop you have. You can have a 2-bay or a 10-bay or a 10 location. If you've got a Chrysler with a center stack that you've got to communicate with, you need the data. And so I want to bring up Association and the Automotive Service Association. There are a few others out there. They're on the forefront for quietly fighting for us in the aftermarket. And the fight is this. In fact, Massachusetts, I printed it out. You guys can check it out. But the Massachusetts, and Ray, I know you're familiar with this, the right to repair law passed. It was a mudslinging fight. It was like an old Western, OEs against aftermarket and associations, the rental car business, and we won. And we're hopeful that leads further. And what does that mean? Well, if you go to your neighborhood garage and your automotive technician, the guy or gal that's got to work in your car and doesn't have the proper data by way of flow charts and information, he can't fix your car. And overwhelmingly, where are you guys going? You're not going to the dealer. You're coming to great shops in the aftermarket who treat you one-on-one. And so Auto Care Association and the Automotive Service Association, I invite all my industry friends that are catching this, get involved. Get involved just means, hey, I may catch an email a month. They have lobbyists that are working for us. So I just want to get that word out because there's stuff down the pipeline and we need the information.
Now,
we see it all the time. Like I said before the show, if you're working on a Volvo, actually the European cars, I'll just broad brush European cars in general.
Yeah,
Japanese cars are pretty good. Those are the worst to get the information for, you know, with a lot of these systems. And like you said, you want to do a good quality, safe repair for a customer, and you're handcuffed right from the start because you can't get good repair information. You can't get scan data. And I see where they're coming from. They want to keep it proprietary. They want the cars back at the dealer. I understand that, but
they want it safe. Listen, the campaign that came out in Massachusetts was scathing straight up. And now we're talking sizzle. We got to convince people, the average Joe or Jill, they're not going to dive in and research the topic. They're just going to see a 30-second spot of a woman in a dark lit parking lot going to her car, and all of a sudden somebody remotely from their computer hijacks the car, and she's at, you know, all of this stuff. The fact is, we have to respect the OEs. They want to keep it safe. There's liability up to the yin yang. And you're right, Ray, the Europeans, have made it really difficult for years to be able to communicate. They have strict protocol to that. I'd like to mention another name, and he is Scott Brown. I want you guys to check him out. He's doing a lot of great stuff. He has the diagnostic, it's diag.net, and it's a great forum of legitimate, professional case examples and scenarios. This is a professional automotive technician platform.
Is that
He's doing a lot of great stuff. Scott Brown with diag.net.
diag.net?
Diag.net. He's a great guy. We've had him on the show to talk about technology and also how in the aftermarket we're able to communicate. The aftermarket scan tools. We got to look at data stream and such. Not always cut it. And so on. So Mean Papa Squirrel, the Dodge dealer, has to belong to. I was reading some of the comments. I'm hoping to hear some comments from our mechanics and technicians out there. But the fact is, the OEs want to keep it safe. The other thing, guys, is they're pushing by the way of having this control over patents to parts, right? So a new way to say, hey, sorry, aftermarket, whether it be Dorman, you name whatever aftermarket brand that a lot of us purchase from. Our clients they may not afford OE. We give them the option. This is the warranty on aftermarket. We'll still fix it. We'll still fix it right. But I'm selling the thing. So, yeah, they may want to go with Dorman. Well, Dorman can't go in and reproduce the top selling intake because there's a patent and they're extending. So there's a lot of this going on. And my point is this. If you're in the industry, I don't care if you are doing performance work or if you're doing oil services and you're in a light line garage, you got to get active because guess what you're going to say after it's all said and done?
I didn't see it coming.
I can't get this done on this car. I can't reset this car for whatever.
I was going to say, doing an oil change was something that the easiest thing in the world, like anybody in their driveway could do it, and not anymore. Between the special tools, between resetting the oil indicator light, the lamp, and knowing what oil to put in it, it's become a lot more complex than it used to be. But I just want to jump back before I forget. Diag.net, that sounds like a lot like an IATN site to me.
It is. In fact, Scott Brown was one of the original founders
of
IATN. In fact, I can speak on this because it's behind him. It's part of his history. But there was a lawsuit. IATN didn't like the fact that he did his thing, and he ended up winning the lawsuit. But the bottom line is the medical industry has this forum. Attorneys have this forum. And so here's especially in the aftermarket, diag.net is you can go in there and it has all kinds of real world case examples. And I'm talking about like picoscope, lab scope waveforms, man. Real stuff. You're not going to find a lot of that on YouTube, So for all my shop owners and mechanics out there, I invite you to check it out. It's a great resource. And then they also have the legislative side, there's conversation about what associations are doing. Years ago, associations were great to, we'd hang out. It was kind of therapy. We'd complain. Mechanics would complain about the service riders, and vice versa, and complain about the goofy customers sometimes that we have. But now, man, you got to have that conversation on the forefront about where you're going to be 5 years from now. Are you going to be able to have the data?
You talk about the picoscope, and my the co-host I had on my show, Joe D, is a top-level diagnostician, and what he did is with the other guys he knew from different tech lines, and they'd worked together and had professional associations, but they all stayed in touch. They started their own little database of they would upload screenshots from the picoscope or screenshots from the various scanners that they used of known cars that were in good shape, and then with problems. So other guys could come in, other techs could come in and look at that and see, okay, what's the baseline supposed to look like? So I can see, compare it to what I have. So on a grassroots level, these guys were doing that, and I don't think it didn't leave this area in New York. It's kind of tight knit, but I'm sure other guys across the country are doing the same thing. You have to. You
have a great talent out there that travels the country, and he's one of the great technician instructors. And the last name is Truglia, Truglia, Truglia.
Truglia, yeah.
Yeah, he's out there back east, and again on the forefront of passing on like ADAS now, guys, right? Advanced driver awareness systems. So,
Boy, I
right?
got all the data right here.
Yeah, I mean, especially for all our our performance market people, man. It's like, all right, I'm doing a lift on this Silverado, this 2020 Silverado. It ain't like doing a lift on a 99 with those camera systems. And so that's another topic, and we need that information. And so there are a lot of great groups out there that are paying it forward. And you know what? I believe that for a while in our industry, we kind of flatlined, from a technician training point of view. We kind of stuck on multi-port injection, and then now direct injection. And then one thing that COVID did, actually two things. It gave us Zoomitis. And guess what? Educators and institutions really had to kick up their game. Yeah. And, you take a WorldPack as a major player in the marketplace as a distributor. Right. They're killing it by way of attendance because they're really they've always put out great training, but we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't have a beer at the bar while we were having training during the day because that wasn't going on. And so it's out there. You just got to be attached to it.
Right. Very true.
Yep.
Very true.
Okay. I got a couple people in the side room here. I'm gonna have them jump on the screen. Maybe they want to ask you a couple questions, and Yeah, Brian's been kind of active, and like I said, he's right in the forefront of this as our tool distributor and as a tech. But yeah, there's the boys. What up, fellas?
What's up, guys?
Coverman 66, the LS1 king right there.
Oh man, Frank, the king of everything, the king of talk. What's up, bro?
No. Hey, listen, I just shipped out. You want to hear something funny? All mutual friends, Tori, he calls me up, right, here in the desert. He says, man, I'm getting ready to pick up these LS3 heads. I'm like, okay. But I don't trust the guy. I said, what? He said, how far is El Mirage? I said, dude, it don't matter. If I got to go to the Grand Canyon, I'll get you these LS3 heads and we'll shake them down. So, dude, it was like a drug deal. Yeah, I went out there. But modern day drug deal, because I said, hey, Tori, let's FaceTime right now. Let's get this guy. Anyway, it worked out well, and he got his LS3 heads. And
I know who to call, man. Yo.
Yeah, whatever you guys need. Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I gotta send my boy Frank out there. Don't have me make a phone call.
Yeah. Hey, listen, me and Terry did the same thing. Drug deal on a hood.
On a hood.
He called me. He goes, "Hey, man, I got a hood over Chicago. How far?" I was like, "Man, I'm gone. I'm already in the truck."
My man, give me a solid, yo. So I'm gonna build him an LS engine. I'm gonna build him a nice engine as soon as I get it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, guys. It's not huge. But I think it was Chrysler Mopar put out a bulletin regarding counterfeit parts. Like, I'm on the border. I do a lot of work with DC-15. In fact, pre-COVID, right now, nobody wants anybody in the station as best they can, even me. But we talked about right here at the border, you're getting counterfeit parts. And in fact, Mopar put out this whole bulletin about some of these fictitious supposed OE Chrysler parts online repping the Mopar name, and they were counterfeit.
Now, I tell you, a few years ago, Hot Rod Magazine dropped an article on this, and I followed up on it. I got in touch with the manufacturers, and we had a rep from Holly and Excel, and one of the biggest companies to be ripped off was MSD. And
really, wow.
Yeah, they said they had those boxes cloned so perfectly. And like John, we've talked about this. When they go to the trade shows, you see all those guys with cameras taking pictures. They would, they're not even buying the thing. It's like, Christ, at least spend some money, But and MSD was getting killed on returns. It happened to me. I had a put K&N air filters in all my cars. So I had a K&N rep on the show a couple of years ago, and I said to him, hey, I've had this filter in my wife's car now for about 3 years, and every year I take it out, wash it, oil it, and I do it the correct way. I said, I'm starting to see a little weirdness in the corner and on the edge. And he says, what kind of weirdness? So I explained to him what it looked like. Can you send me pictures? I did. I took pictures, sent them to him. He goes, Ray, I hate to tell you this. you got a bogus filter.
Wow.
Said, this was in a K&N box that I bought at a store. He says, you got a bogus filter. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. Send it back to me, and I'll send you a real one. And I said, I appreciate that. Now, radio show, all this other crap aside, why would you, would you do that for anybody else? And he says, yes. He says, the reason is I want to get the bogus ones off the street. He says, I don't know how many we're up against. He says, but we know if we start with you, at least we'll get some good radio out of it. So
they get the one off. Yeah.
It's
but
true.
I was even surprised that I used this thing for 3 years before it was legit.
What was it looking like? You said that, what was it, fraying or something like that?
The pleating was starting to get a little wavy, and around the end by the gasket, it was starting to get a little frayed. It was just, and the ones in, like I said, like I had them in 3 other cars, and I looked at those, and they looked different. They looked much better.
Not only that, I just did that. I think it was AC Delco. I rep a lot of brands and I forget, but we did a whole video. It was just a quick 1 minute on the pleating, especially on direct injection. There's a lot of these. This is beyond counterfeit. This is just quality now. And there are a lot of cheapy OE aftermarket stuff. You got to be really careful because that pleating over time, that's the last thing you want coming apart or not filtering before it goes through an air fluid meter or down in to the combustion chamber through the intake. So we, OE, when in our garage, there's two options, and it's in the need of what one comes in. It's same with you guys. If you're building a project, you're laying it out. Okay, what? It's not so much what budget is. It's like, where do you want to be with this? What are you using it for? And then you dial in that. And it's the same with us retail wise. Somebody comes in saying, hey, I'm only going to have this for 6 months. Then we explain to them, like, we'll give you the warranty on labor, but boy, you're really limited on these parts because they're deep aftermarket.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can I give you a tour of the garage?
Yeah.
Hey, all right, check it out. I'm really excited, guys. we have a I'm in the shot here, but we just celebrated. So I have it's about a 5,200 square foot building, and we just celebrated. In fact, we said on air that we gave birth to rack number 10. We just installed lift number 10 right here.
Nice.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, so this shop has been here 17 years. Let me flip it around, kind of give you a tour, and then of course I got to show you the 56. Am I in frame?
Wait a second. A Ford. Okay, never mind.
John, that's the
Thunderbird. Man, that thing's clean.
That's a beautiful color.
Clean. You know what? You guys want to hear something funny? I don't know. You guys know this. How the heck do I get a 95 T-Bird and a 56 in one day? I mean, it's like having two Daewoo's in the shop at one time.
Right.
But this I'll bring you guys up to the lounge. We've got two master techs. I got a crew of 4, and then we do keep at least. COVID kind of jacked it up, but we usually have at least one mentored student in here.
That's great.
Let me turn the lights on for you guys. I hope you guys are okay with this. I just wanted to share.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
I don't know.
The lights will come on here in a minute. Give it a quick moment. Give you a tour. So this store has been here 17 years. The lights will come on here just in a moment. There we go. And at one point, I had 3 locations, 2 additional to this one. And for those listening right now, all right, my business is doing well. I need to open more locations. Well, you got to be careful. There is a metric in an automotive P&L, and I don't like P&L. I like profit or loss, not profit and loss. It's either you made money or not. But the fact is, your square footage facility utilization number. In other words, each square foot has to turn $1. So before you expand, you got to identify, hey, am I getting the most out of where I'm at? We were at the time, and we expanded 2 stores, and I found out quickly that just wasn't my gig. We had it for 4 years, and then I sold them, and we're back to just one location. But yeah, this is our place, man.
Nice,
man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very.
Excellent.
Looks good.
So tell everybody your location again, the address.
Yeah, just Chandler, Arizona, guys, which is outside of Phoenix. And whether you're watching this on the replay, your family, man. If you're hanging with Lewis Lee and the crew, you guys, if you're in Phoenix, I don't care. Like I said, if you need a cylinder head and it's wherever it's at, I'll go get it for you. Don't worry.
That's right, man. Family.
some brass reeds too.
Yeah. It was funny because it seems like one thing. In fact, the industry, there's a bunch of us trying to. The expos will start picking up in the fall. I do a lot of.
Solstice? Was that a solstice or a sky that you went past?
That was a solstice. Yeah,
Okay.
Let's check it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the sky look a little bit better.
Yeah, I like the sky.
There it is. But
There we go. Yeah.
Put an LS in that thing. You know they got a kit for that.
Yeah. I just watched the video on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Hey, Terry, it'll slide right in.
I don't know, right in there, right? You basically have a modern day Cobra.
How's the trombone sound in that shop, Frank?
You know what, guys? I love my horn. I tell you what, if it wasn't for my wife, I'd be a broke-ass musician in Cuba right now.
Yeah.
Hey, I played the trombone in elementary.
Did you?
Nice.
Yep. I tried to play it. I never got to where I could play it, but I blew in the hole.
I'll tell you a quick story. I wanted to play. I remember when I was in 7th grade. All right. Now I've already played the drums. I was in 7th grade and I wanted to take a horn. And I went and told my mother, yeah, I want to play the trumpet, right? But I got them confused. I wanted to play the trombone. And then she goes out and gets me a trumpet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play the trombone. She goes, is that what you want? I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted, Ma. Yeah. Played for 4 years.
We talked about the opportunities for youngsters and, some of the politics with the school system. But it's guys like yourself, the John Gardners of the world, each of us here we got to take it on the private side. The public side has a lot of red tape, and I know you deal with that rate daily. But as a youngster, I grew up in Harlem in the 70s and 80s. It was a shithole.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was rotten, man. It was rough. And I was the tall white kid in the class. I got the trombone. All the good-looking kids got the violins. And I stuck with it. And I had a teacher that took me in. And, each one of us have that story. And look, I don't want to get all kumbaya on it, but we're doing more than just fixing cars. More than fixing cars. Each one of us, no matter what level, like Terry, you're kicking out some videos. You're doing your thing. But I guarantee you, there's at least 1 or 2 people that are saying, you know what, I thought about it, but this guy makes it look like, yeah, I can do that too,
Yep.
And again, I'm not trying to get cheesy with this, but the industry needs to continue inspiring because no one else is going to do it for us. No one who's going to do it, And so I remember my mentors to this day. I do a lot of not only coaching straightforward, but I have coaching and therapy and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is we can never stop growing and never stop sharing that way.
Right.
That's true. Very true.
That's for sure. I'll tell you what. I get a lot of knowledge when I go back to our trade school every once in a while and give a talk to some of the kids, and I come out of there feeling like I learned something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I learned what these kids are going through, or what they're striving to get to. You know what I mean? And then I come home and think, wow, that kid said he wants to do this. Maybe I'll try that. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. It's a two-way highway. When you start trying to give back, it's a nice streak. Yep.
You know what I said, guys, and I think Terry, you heard this on the show. Certainly, Lewis, you heard it, and it's repetitive, and I don't really give a shit. But I'm like, put automotive people in government, we'll straighten everything out.
Absolutely.
Hey, as long as we got LSs in the right.
No. Big blocks.
I'm voting for John, man. I'm voting for John.
It's funny that you said that because, like, I'm a gun guy, I'm a car guy, I'm a artist, and each one of those groups of families you can say that about. You know what I mean? Like when I'm with my artist friends, you know, I always say, man, you know, it's a good bunch of people, you know what I mean, that hang out with. Or I could be with my gun guys, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
every hobby has that group, you know what I mean?
Exactly right.
And
Well, I think what you're talking on too, if you know, without digging deep into psychology right now, but you know what I see, it's the tribal unit. As kids are coming up, they're trying to identify that tribal unit. And what I see sometimes, and it's not always the collective of mom and dad. You know, it's single moms. It's dad's not in the picture, mom's working, and she's more concerned and worried. Not always. I'm not trying to paint a broad stroke here, but she's worried about, you can't repeat what I did. So you can't explore like I made bad mistakes. And so sometimes that tribal exploration into guns, into automotive, into skilled trades, since we're talking about it, mom says, no. You gotta go to college. I don't care if you're watching Terry, Coverman. No. And so the tribal factor is huge. It's huge. And so you mentioned a few industries, Lewis, that, you know, it's tight. So you know, how do we parlay that to both the kids and convince the parents? Like I said, I get them in my garage. Listen, I have hoity-toity parents in my garage. You're putting a pair of gloves on, you're gonna hold the 1-inch gun, and you're gonna bust the crack bolt off that Honda right now. You know? Yeah. And I don't care how much education you had. You know, there's a problem. You get this elitist attitude. We're all the same, man. We're no different. Let your kids explore. It's okay. You know, and so a lot of that's limited. And so with social media, now what's happening? I see it with my 12-year-old. She's seeing what they do. All right, I get it. Kids do that. Well, what are they doing? And I'm trying to teach you, you know what? Don't worry about figure out what you want to do. Make the mistakes. See, social media, the thing about social media, which is really hardcore in these kids, and even some of us adults, oh, it's perfect. Look at that. You
only show the good.
Yeah.
And that's, dude, I'm telling you right now, Terry, I admire what you're doing on YouTube. You're not, you know what? You probably do 2 takes. You're not at it doing 10 takes and it's got to be perfect. It's like, it's the element. You know, Luis Santiago is another one. I mean, he's out there. Hey, this is what we're doing. We're doing pod cuts, whatever. And we need more of that, because I think these kids have a lot of pressure, and these damn brands that are positioning, you know, the perfect model. These kids are, I'm chasing the wrong thing. You should be chasing what you're really interested in.
Right. Let me jump in with Lou. Lou's a one-take guy. When I tell you, we used to go do promotions for companies. When I tell you, he'll look at this cookie and he'll ask a couple questions about it, and he will promote that cookie like he baked it, like he packaged it, all in one take. It's the craziest thing. And you know what else? And Jared is the same way. Not as good as Lou, but Jared is pretty close. Yep.
Yeah, it's an art form. It's a gift.
Yep.
You know what it is, guys, too? We forget that, and it's natural. It's just who we are. And Terry, I know you can identify with this. I can, and I'm always looking to grow better at it. Is we self-monitor, you know? Yep. And when you mention Lou and a few others out there, it's just like it's a translation right through that lens. And unfortunately, what happens to a lot of YouTubers is their intention's there. Their knowledge dropping of bombs is there. But these idiots get into the comments and shake them up. And now they're self-monitoring more on a whole different level. I mean, go see our channel, Desert Car Care. I haven't done a video on that channel for over 2 years, but we keep growing. I don't know, 400 subs a month, because I'll hang in the comments, because it's great for my website analytics. That's a whole nother SEO thing. But you see some of the knuckleheads, and it's like, man. But what I'm saying is, as someone just trying to help a community, that's another added layer if they're not careful. And there they go. I'm done with it. I'm not going to do it anymore.
You know what to say, Frank? I always felt, and to a degree I still do, that it's maybe a New York thing, but I'm sure it happens other places. And John, I think he'll back me up on this.
Yeah.
We, we'll self-regulate ourselves, but our friends are going to regulate us too. I'm going to get a call from John, and he's going to say, "Hey, listen, I got to talk to you about this, like privately. Like, what are you doing?" He's going to tell me what I did right or tell me what I did wrong, and you need that. I mean, I know a lot of other people. I've dealt with people from other parts of the country that can't take that. They're like, now they think it's a personal assault, and you're gonna, you're not my friend anymore. No, man, that guy is my friend. He's watching my back. Yeah. John, something to add to that? I mean, that's the way we grew up.
Yeah. New Yorkers are made out of a certain material,
Yeah. And the sad part on my case is that,
the sad part on your case is you're upstate New York.
Yeah.
No. That's the beautiful part.
No.
Look
That's alien. You might as well be in Pennsylvania. That's where New Yorkers wind up. New Yorkers and Long Islanders wind up in Florida because we get smart. We get tired of the insane governor, the crazy taxes, the prices of everything. You come down here and you live the life.
The thing that happened with me as far as with my YouTube thing, I wasn't supposed to do this by myself. At one point, I said to all my buddies, "Hey, listen, we were sitting in a shop. We used to have a shop, me and two other guys. We used to have like a garage. It was basically a man cave where we keep our cars and everyone could wrench. We hold about 6 cars in there. It was Saturday afternoon, and I said to everyone, I was like, fellas, I was just looking at everyone wrenching it, which is a good time. I was like, fellas, there's too much, talent in this one room not to try to do like a show or a video or something, I mean, we got painters. We were just car guys. Everyone was all in at that point. Yeah, let's do it. But come time to do the work, no one could be found. The excuses came and everything. And then when it got to the point where, hey, because I just went on myself, because like I said, this whole YouTube thing happened by mistake. Because like I started my Chevelle party, which I was just doing for a couple of my friends who I gave the link to, but I didn't make it. I forgot to make it private just for them. So I was just so jazzed up because the car started, and I just sent it. And the next thing I know, a couple days later, got like 5,000 subscribers, and like it went nuts. And so I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, maybe this is something that I should be doing, because like it seemed like everyone was asking me a whole bunch of questions, because you got to remember the year was like 2010. There wasn't that many people putting LSs. I mean, you had a few, but LSs were coming out new, and how'd you do the cross member? There weren't really many kits out there and everything. So a lot of people were asking questions, so I was answering them. And then I was like, you know what, let me do a video and answer some of these most common questions. And that's how this whole thing started. But then since then, some of those guys, they don't talk to me. I've lost, and Kevin Tetz told me, he says, if you don't lose friends, you're not growing, and they show you who they are. The minute they show you who they are, believe them. And it's unfortunate because like some of my real friends, they will let me know, like Ray, there's one video, and Ray flat out told me with the, I think it was the relay. You remember when I made a yeah, and that's a buddy right there,
We talked.
See, there you go. So I'm not saying that, and I always say, hey, this isn't the way, like this isn't the end and be all. I mean, this is the way I do it, and this is the way how I got past this little obstacle. That if you have this obstacle, this is how I got past it. Now you can try another one, push the envelope, try to find another, solution. But this is how I got it. But don't knock me, And as soon as if you can take, and when I first started, I was like, if I could take a compliment, you got to be able to take an insult. And I usually try to, okay, well, come at me the right way. Tell me what's the problem. But if you come out with me and you just, hey, you're an idiot, such and such, you get one. Okay, explain yourself. And if there's just no reasoning to the person, then it's just like, okay, fine, you just want to troll. But 9 times out of 10, we agree to disagree. And or either I didn't know you meant it that way, or whatever, such and such. So, it's been a cool trip. And like I said, you just gotta be careful. You gotta know. You gotta have a thick skin, because like for every, and it's not that often. And what's cool is if someone sees that you're trolling that really likes your work, you sit back and you let them.
They'll handle it.
Yeah, you know what, man, you're dropping some bombs right there. The thing is, I do a lot of work with the industry. Ratchet and Wrench is a big trade magazine, and along with Wrench Nation, I do a lot of their podcasts for everything from marketing, ops to you name it. And one of the topics was about, a lot of shop owners, they get so jaded and freaked out about a 1-star review.
Yeah.
And their position is like, those people are on medicine. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, no, man, there's something in there that you can grow your business from. Mm-hmm. And, no matter what you do, whether you have a YouTube channel, whether you're an educator or whatever, man, you can't stop that. And the vibe of those comments, there's nuggets in there. And even if you're called out for something, you know what? Own it and grow from it, because that is a community. It can't be. Listen, none of us are experts and authorities. I had the TV people say, "We got our Frank from Desert Car Care. He's the automotive expert." And I told the producer, "Listen, stop. I'm just Frank with Desert Car Care. Period." You lose people because it's community. If I'm going to communicate with the audience, it's by-way, not one way. It really is. And so it's important to get in there and, hey, you know what? There's some constructive nuggets to grow from.
It's all about how you communicate, and communication is a lost art. We all know that. People don't listen. They just pontificate and talk. And we communicate on different levels in different ways, like we just illustrated, which is the real way. But Terry just reminded me of something. I buy a lot of products. I'm a consumer like everybody else. And I happen to be the guy that takes the surveys. And I write Amazon and Google reviews. And I write them honestly. And then sometimes I find fault. But I learned a long time ago, first of all, you got to know how to write a sentence. And a lot of these trolls and the ogres can't put a real sentence together. So I don't take them seriously. I mean, there are a lot of reasons. But anyway, I found that if I state my case and say what I don't like about the thing, but then I always like to end on a positive note. Start positive, put in the stuff that you didn't like, if there was anything like that. Don't be too sappy, because that's not believable. And then end on a positive note and make it readable. My stuff goes through. I get thousands of reviews on this stuff that people like it. And I got to say, just because they can read it.
Hey, I'm sorry. I went to public school.
So did I. But that's
yeah.
What I'm talking about. Like just a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, I had Eddie Lyle from the Lyle Tool Corporation on the show 2 weeks ago. Lyle put up a picture of these new exhaust donut pliers. Well, I don't know if they're new, but they put them up and they said, "Hey, listen, we're going to give a pair of these away. So all you got to do is, like it. You got to subscribe to us and just write a comment." They didn't have you going through 9 different things. I said, okay. So I did. I wrote a comment and I said, I just had occasion where I could have used a pair of these, but I didn't have them, and I had to do it the old-fashioned way. And I could see how these things could, how they absolutely, would serve the purpose. And I went a little further. So I followed the comments, and guys they'll put up like the clapping hands and the thumbs up and the flaming hot this, that. No words at all, just emojis. So I won the pliers. And he said, really, was it really because I actually wrote a sentence? He says, well, that actually goes a long way. I'm like, yeah, I think so.
Just any response goes a long way, man, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a thumbs up. I mean, if you get like so many people, so many emails and comments, to sit there and try to, answer each and every one, like it's just quicker, just give a thumbs up. And I'd rather give a thumbs up instead of waiting a couple days to answer someone, give me a thumbs up,
In that regard, I agree. Because
it shows acknowledgement, yeah.
No, because you're responding to people. But I'm saying when you're as a consumer responding or commenting on something, give the person something to go by. Don't be overly sappy. Make it factual. if there's something you don't like, state it clearly, and then just be congenial about it. Don't be, you don't have to be. I mean, unless the thing failed and cut your arm off, then you got a right to, But if it didn't, and I think that's that communication gap that we have now. It's like the texting era. There you go. What'd you buy from Mac?
I want to sizzle the audience. Can we do that?
Yep.
All right. I got a giveaway on behalf of Lewis Lee playing in traffic.
Uh-oh.
The individual that shares this one right now the most gets a Mac tool ratcheting bit set and bam, a chrome magnetic tool holder. So share this out. These are the giveaways.
Nice.
And by the way, we have no affiliate endorsement of such corporations. We're just giving it for the white people.
Right.
All right. So, hey, we'll announce the winner next week.
Yeah, and we'll ship it. It's all good.
And if you're on the show live, you're not eligible.
Hey now. I was looking forward to that pack.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, appreciate it, man. Hey, you're a marketing guru, I guess.
I love my audience. Let's see. Anybody commenting? I mean, is this? Come on, guys. Look at this. Ray, what's the retail value, Ray?
Hey. Send me a link.
Hey, Ray probably has one next to him.
I did just buy a receipt, but it was a smaller one. That's great for dashboard work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, well,
what is one?
Yeah. It's 10:12, so I have to go 90-night because I have an early start in the morning.
You see, Lewis starts turning orange. He turns into a pumpkin, and then we gotta let him go.
Yeah, you don't want to see one of my shoes laying in the street.
Yo, Lewis, man, I'm liking the stuff that you guys that you turning out with that leather, man. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you. I
see it on Facebook every now and then. I'm like, oh, my man doing his thing. We get a Coverman belt.
Since you mentioned that, Lewis, let me ask you a question. Tim Allen and Richard Karn have a new show on History Channel. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw the previews.
Okay. It's a build show. Guys have to build stuff. It's 2 levels of competition. But one of the builders, this guy was in Virginia this week, and I caught it because, we catch stuff quick on TV. We catch the snippets. He was wearing a black T-shirt, black pants, black belt, so that it stuck out. He had on his hip, it looked like it was a gun holster. It looked like an open gun holster, but he had a cell phone in it. Now, I know DeSantis made cell phone holsters years ago. They were the web style. So I don't know if this guy stuck a cell phone in the gun holster because the producer probably told him, listen, take Roscoe off. We're on TV. We don't want you to have that. Or if it is a bona fide cell phone holster. But I said, damn, I got to find out because I want one.
Yeah. I've made them. Wait, let me see if, hold on. Let me see if my phone will fit in my holster. No, don't fit. So I gotta make one. I'll make you one.
You'd have to make it. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, because I got a wide phone. I got an outer box on it.
Yeah, I've made them.
But it would fit for an automatic. That's what it looked like. It looked like an automatic open holster.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'll see if I can watch it in a rerun and get a screenshot of it.
No, you don't have to. I know exactly what you need.
Okay.
Just give me the measurement of your phone.
Got it. It is.
Gotcha.
I'm going to say 3 1/8 inches. So I figure 3 1/4 wide.
3 1/4? How long?
It's like 6 1/2.
6 1/2.
So it doesn't have to go fully in. It can fit.
What color you want?
I'd go with black.
Wildcat tan.
Now the tan is kind of classy. You might be a classy guy wearing a tan.
All right,
old school saddle tan.
That's what caught my eye. The guy, it was like a tan color, and that's what honed me in on it. So yeah, that's cool. That's good.
See, this is my everyday carry. I got my
Whoa.
my Letterman,
Right.
and I got my nasal spray in case I need to open up my nasal. And I got my lip gloss so I don't be ashy.
Right.
Oh my God.
That's it. This is my everyday part of my everyday carry.
Oh, sweet. That's nice.
So it keeps everything organized in my pocket.
Yeah.
There you go.
Excellent.
But yeah, I got you. Next week I'll ship it out.
All right. Very good. Cool. Thank you.
So listen, everybody, I got to take off. Ray, did you log in as the co-host?
No, I didn't. I came in as me.
Okay. So when I jump off, it's going to cut everybody off. So I'm sorry. But hey, Frank, man, I really appreciate you coming on and giving us kicking knowledge.
Thank you.
Hey, like I said, your family, bro. Anytime you want to come through.
Well, likewise, and including all our peeps in the audience there, if you guys are in the Phoenix area. And I'm hopeful, man, I catch you
Christopher
at SEMA and some of the trade shows that are coming up. And if you guys have any guests you want to highlight on the show, man, there's always an open mic to share that story.
Yeah, I just signed up a couple new clients, so I'll be sending you over some people that needs promoted for sure.
Thank you, guys.
And SEMA, really, I want to get together with everybody at SEMA, man. I mean, we really gotta set up a real strong meet because of last year not being there. You know what I mean? So we all got to hook up and really do something at SEMA. We got to get Ray out at SEMA because he's never been there.
Yeah.
You know what we gotta do? Yeah, Lewis, you know what we gotta do? We gotta like Mr. T kidnap him, drug him up and put him on a plane, fly him out.
You don't have to be that dramatic about it. I'm not fighting you.
We don't need no rope, Ray.
The problem is we're just in we're at the end of a semester when SEMA is going on and we got finals and it's always hard to get, they kind of don't like you taking vacation when, you got final exams coming up.
Well, listen, we got to get you a cough. You hit the button and the cough.
Right. What I got to do is push the button on retirement and say, I'm done. Which is coming up sooner than later. So, yeah.
Right.
It's either that or being an educator, you're probably part of the union. You got to take that sick time. Oh, by the way, counselor, I'll be sick come October 30th through September 7th.
November 1st or something like that. the 3rd to the 6th.
Yeah.
Lewis,
take that sick time.
Can I share a quick story with you guys in the audience?
For sure.
It has to do with SEMA and Apex. I did some work for Apex. You guys know little brother Automotive Association Parts Expo, big expo.
Mm-hmm.
And this was obviously in the fall. This was before COVID. And what I noticed is that, and there were a ton, tens of thousands of Asians hanging out downstairs. I said, you know what? I'm going to go down and I wasn't going to come in there with microphones and video cameras. I just want to hang with these folks because they seem very separated. Long story short, I come back. I was sicker than a dog. Never been as sick. Fast forward January, sick again. I took amoxicillin, whatever they gave me. I went back into the hospital. This time, just a little bit before this time last year. And they said, we can get you better. But by the way, you got something going on with your heart. I said, what do you mean? You guys know I don't rest. I keep moving and grooving. Mm-hmm. They said, you got 200% plugged. Third is 94. I had quintuple.
Wow.
Heart bypass.
Really?
Wow.
Had I not gotten sick, dude, those are widowmakers.
Yeah.
Damn. So I wanted to share that with you. So my point is this. All you guys, because we're stubborn that way, get your once a year echo. And if you are doing the expos as they start to pop up, and they will, be safe, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice, Frank.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they just recently brought out some information stating that they have found out that COVID was brought here from Asia as early as September of last year.
I believe it. I think I was, they tested me for corona. They said I had Corona. I said, I've not been drinking. I haven't been.
I don't drink that Mexican stuff.
I'm just saying, guys, be safe. Be safe, man. We'll all hook up. It's coming. Event planners, look out. You're going to be busy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Peppercorn.
Okay, fellas. Next week, we're going to have Rick with Bone Shaker, the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
The rocket truck. So he'll be on next week. We got some new stuff coming out. Me and him are collabing. So, yeah, he'll be on next week. And Frank, once again, thank you. Everybody go check out his website. And, you know, anytime, Frank, you know, your fam.
Lewis, I sent you a message about Ryan Brutt, the auto archaeologist, as well. He'd like to come on the show.
Okay.
We'll find him a spot.
Did you email me or?
I did, yeah.
Okay, great. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, people. Tell all your friends and family that we kick it every Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern time. And you know, hey, you know how we do.
That's how we
We're
do.
out. Good night, everybody.
Follow us home.
See ya.
Be good, guys.